Hi, I'm Andrew Wasson. Thanks for joining me for my weekly guitar blog. It's March 16th, 2014, and this week we're going to do a lesson discussing practicing improvisation naturally. Now, this week's question was sent in from Nick. He's out in Cardiff, Wales in the UK, and he wrote in with this email. I'm on a guitar improvisation quest for getting more connected phrasing and better sounding resolutions in my playing. I keep reading through lessons that say I need to target specific tones and that I need to phrase into the content of the harmony. But I keep thinking that there must be a basic way to do this naturally. Is there a practice approach that just applies the guitar and my ear? From Nick in Cardiff, Wales, United Kingdom. Well, hey, thanks for writing in, Nick. I think every musician, regardless of their theory knowledge, begins the study of improvisation by simply making up melodies. Now, since melody practice is the first step, in order to make it to the second step, we need to expand the function of the content we're working on. And this means we need to jam, and jam a lot. We need backing tracks going on. It's great to be with, of course, other musicians, but there's also the fact that you can get a blooper pedal and just play with loops. But you know, in those early days and early stages of this work, it helps a great deal to keep the content within the grasp of your theory. In the beginning, work with very simple harmony concepts, know the key you're operating in, and fully understand what you're doing. Then, as you get better, expand to more complex jams. And you know, in this video, I'll be using a looper pedal, and I'll demonstrate this using a collection of different progressions from simple two-chord vamps, just jams on two chords, to more involved harmonies using multiple chords from within a key. So let's zoom in on the neck and get started. One of the easiest jams that guitar players can get started on right away is one where we have a tonal center of the key that we're working within just drone out in the bass, and where we only use a couple of chords from the key signature's harmony. Now, my first jam loop example, I'll be using the 1 chord and the 7 chord from the key center of A natural minor. Now, the A in the bass here, that tone that's just going to ride out underneath, we'll have just a couple of small triads that I'm going to play above that. And you know, this kind of jam really keeps harmony simple, yet it still can really lock down the key center for working on melodies. So let's punch in the looper pedal and hear what this progression sounds like. I'll jam over it a little bit with the A natural minor scale, give you a bit of a chance to hear what this sounds like when you're improvising over it. So here it is, A natural minor played with the droning A in the bass. All right, now that you've had a chance to hear how a simple 2-chord vamp with a droning bass note sounds, let's move on to a group of very common chord changes in another key signature. This common group of chords usually is going to be referred to as a 1-4-5 chord progression, and for our jam here, I'll be working in the key of D major. So we'll have D major, G major, and A major in the progression, and we'll just keep things pretty simple by just using D major scales, D major, and then of course pentatonic major as well. And as I stated earlier, this progression uses 3 chords, and it does not have a droning bass, so your ear is going to have to switch into serious listening mode and track how you're going to phrase around each of the chords as they appear along the length of the chord progression. So just take your time, listen closely, and always work at trying to play what you hear in your head. So once more, let's punch in the looper and hear what this progression sounds like for trying out some D major scale improvisation study. Well, next I want to jump into a progression that's far more riff-oriented in its design. So in this case, we'll be trying to create melodies and phrase lines over a busy rhythm that applies much more of a scalar concept to promote the overall harmonic backdrop. Now, this riff is in the key of E natural minor, and it sounds like this. So it's very busy. You can hear a lot of scalar movement down low in the bass. So it's not going to be something that's going to be all that easy to phrase on. These kind of ideas, you may want to just be more sparse with your attacks, maybe do some bending, have some punches there with some two-note chords, stuff like that. So anyway, let me punch in the looper on this one and get you to hear how this progression sounds when trying out some E natural minor, some E minor pentatonic, some E blues scale to try to create some improvisation over it. So here we go. Well, in my final example, I'm going to expand the concept we've been working on quite a lot further by adding the 7th chord tone onto each of the chords that are applied in this progression. So first of all, here's how it sounds. This time the key center is going to be D major. So you can tell this progression takes on much more of a jazz flavor to it, which will obviously influence how we play over this new set of expanded changes here. Our new 7th chord progression not only has expanded harmony, but it also operates with every chord quality as well. You know, up till now, our progressions have been pretty limited to just basic, the major and minor chords and some power chords and that, but in this progression, we'll be playing over the full major 7, minor 7th, and dominant 7th. Actually, there's even an extension on that A chord. It's an A dominant 13. So, both this rich harmony and the diverse chord qualities are going to make for some pretty unique sounding chord progression lines to study, both improvisation and melody phrasing over. So anyway, now let's go ahead and punch in the looper one last time on this 7th chord progression and just hear how this one sounds when we're trying out some of these D major scale improvisation studies. Well, you know, when it comes down to the study of phrasing practice, the learning of improvisation, and the training of our ears, we need to spend time working on progressions, either with jam tracks, with loopers, pedals like we did today, or of course jamming with others, you know, having a band or, you know, playing with your friends on the weekend, that kind of thing. But it simply is not enough to just pluck these phrases out of these improvisational books or some of the videos out there that just say, well, you need to, you know, play into the chord tones of the moment during your progression. I mean, those kinds of statements are pretty empty. They don't really describe how to do it. And, you know, we need, of course, to get our ears to actually have that natural sense to help guide our fingers over to the correct chord tones that we want. And that natural sense can only really come from learning how your hands should move in order to play on a chord as it's functioning at a certain period of time, or playing around chords, you know, as they're moving from one to the other, measure by measure. And of course, it gets more complex when you leave key signatures and you're studying more complex musical styles, like maybe jazz or fusion or something. And, you know, one of the very best ways, of course, that this will occur is through your rehearsal time spent with a really good group of chord progressions, playing in the background behind you, and of course, training against them. That, above anything else, will really be what takes your playing to the next level. Anyway, that's about all the time I have for today. As always, thanks for watching. Have yourself a great week, and I'll catch up with you next time. Bye for now.